$3,000 worth of storage?
Sure. I mean, remember, I paid $10,000 for a 1 megabyte drive one time, right?
That's an 80 megabyte full height 5¼ inch hard drive. That's from Whimsy. It's now a doorstop.
Well, that's what we bought for Senta the first time in 1986.
Yep.
When we were first on Stewart's Ban BC.
On Ban BC, that's right.
And to be on that, if you remember, we had to provide a Trailblazer 16 Plus modem.
Yes, and I'm sorry I threw them out. They were rusted.
Oh,
there's another $5,000 each.
Well, they were $5,035 each. We don't have any of those left?
Oh, they're probably a couple around someplace down in your warehouse. But
okay,
the ones that I had are gone.
I ended up buying 12 of them, which was 12 times 5,000, $60,000.
Actually, I think by the time we bought the last couple, they were about $3,000.
And we had 2 of those because to be on Stewart's deal, which was the internet, but we didn't know it yet.
Yep.
It was the internet.
It was Usenet.
But it was
file-to-file sharing, and then he gatewayed into the internet.
Yeah, but we were part of the internet.
We were
because
part of the internet.
I can remember sitting there and watching the machine turn on at 2 o'clock in the morning, and the stuff would be coming from the University of South Africa in Johannesburg, and then it would come off and split off to Simon Fraser, and UBC wasn't part of ours.
Oh, no, Stewart fed UBC.
But we were feeding SFU.
Yep.
And what was funny about that whole thing was that to be on the internet, you had to literally provide, as I remember it, to be on his thing anyway, we had to have 80 megabytes of storage provided.
There's a pool of storage for things passing through.
Yeah, we had to provide, and we had to have 2 phone lines because we had to have a phone line so stuff could come in and go out at the same time.
Yep.
And this is space age. This is absolutely
Well, you had lots of
space
phone
age.
lines. This was great.
Well, I had lots of phone lines, but that wasn't the problem. To do it, so to provide that was like
we had telephone modems.
$3,000 for the storage, for the 80 megabyte storage, and 2 $5,000 modems was we were putting out $14,000.
Now I got a good one for you. Did you know that at that time?
And Stuart charged me $25 a month to be part of it.
$25 a month. Did you know that at that time, with the U.S. embargo on anything to do with Cuba, where Canada still traded with Cuba and things like that, we were feeding Cuba.
Oh, I didn't know that. We were
now that the U.S. is okay with Cuba again.
Well, they're not.
Well, they are, but they're not.
No, Cuba just got added back in.
Oh, did they get added?
Anyway, making a long story short. All right. Well, I had
disappear next week. You know where I am.
I had nothing to do with that. That was completely unknowns to myself. And you weren't working with Stewart at that time either. So
no, I was not.
Yes,
so blame it all on Stewart. But I was working later, and I did know about it later.
Yeah. So we had, just to make it clear, we had a whole series of things for the internet that became, I mean, we started putting our client, and then can I tell, well, we know the story, I've told it before, but we don't have that in archives anymore, do we?
No, not right now.
Okay, because I've got this equipment now, and then in March '83, I'm on an airplane, I'm flying to Toronto, and I saw you put this in one of your digital rags.
I put this in one of my digital rags.
And I'm flying to Toronto, and I'm sitting beside some guy who's a bit of a mensch, a nerd, or whatever you want to call it, and I have no idea who he is. And he's asked me about computers, and I said, oh yeah, I got this thing. And I actually knew all the buzzwords for what I had, but we didn't get any productive work. Most of the time we used it for word processing. And you got to remember, I'd had Redactron word processors and IBM word processors. I'd had $300,000 worth of CompuGraphic and typesetters.
And spent millions of dollars on computers.
Well, I spent over $5 million on computers over the years. I can prove it. Anyway, making a long story short, this fellow he asked me what I've got, and I say I've got a Model 2 Radio Shack computer. And Richard, you know how when you see somebody's eyes light up?
Yes.
This guy's eyes went, oh, like,
I'm talking to somebody who knows something.
Are you lucky? But it wasn't that. Are you lucky?
Yeah.
Because he started talking about how this Model 2 was the best computer in the entire world because. And why don't you tell the audience, what could I do to that computer?
Well, the Model 2 actually came with 4 spare card slots inside it, and even
that was
those
unknown
of us,
with other computers in.
Even those of us who were in Radio Shack didn't know what these card slots were for.
Yeah.
There was no expansion. We didn't have anything to put in them.
Nothing to put in them.
Well, it turns out that way in the background, Tandy was putting together a Motorola 68000 CPU board, a communications board, and memory boards that would all fit in these various slots.
Yeah.
And along with that upgrade, you got an upgrade in the operating system. And the operating system was either Radio Shack TRS-DOS 16 or it was Xenix. Xenix, the
From a
commercial
weird company.
offshoot of the AT&T operating system called Unix. And you got the ability to use this machine with 2 or more dumb terminals on it as a little mini computer.
Yeah.
And mini computers at that point started at $20,000 and went up in $20,000 increments very quickly.
That in '77 I paid $275,000 for a mini computer. I bought a Lockheed Systems 3, which was an outtake or a copy of the IBM Systems 3.